This is Don Laskin's Observations When the Rant is Due, brought to you by the Lone Writer Advertising Group, your U.S. outsource resource. Unbeatable prices, professionalism, and award-winning creativity for toughing out a tough economy. Now, Doolittle about the economy. As my family is painfully aware, I majored in history. Painfully because, short of getting a Ph.D., and I was shorter than Barbara Boxer in flats standing alongside Shaquille O'Neal, they couldn't see how history had relevance toward making a living or much of anything else. Okay, they let me have that Santayana quote about those not learning from history being bound to repeat it. But from the Arab-Israeli conflict, the resurgence of Russian hegemony in Eastern Europe, and Paris Hilton, everybody seems comfortable with history repeating like a reheated taco. It got to where even I couldn't see the point of history. Then, bam! Over the last 6 months, I find out our whole financial structure is based on the past. That is, history. Well, maybe not the whole financial structure, just the stock market. Okay, like everybody else, I used to think stock market trading was based on prognostication. You know, reading crystal balls, sifting tea leaves, sorting goat entrails, checking out what products a company is planning to launch, analyzing upcoming mergers and acquisitions, seeing how new leadership will affect a company's future, then betting how you think things will turn out. I was wrong. The economy is all about history. Like last fall, in Q4, everybody knew Chrysler, Ford, and GM were in deep doo-doo. They were on Capitol Hill begging for bailout money, for Christ's sake. Or as my daughter Stacy pointed out, for Chrysler's sake. Plants and dealerships were closing faster than a Corvette on a Yugo. It was obvious Q4 sales would be way down. What'd the market do when the first quarter numbers came out showing what everybody already knew? Tanked. Q4 businesses turned out more employees than products. What'd the market do in Q1 when the numbers came in showing what everybody already knew? Tanked. What'd the people do who got turned out in Q4? Collected unemployment. What'd the market do in Q1 when the unemployment numbers came in? Tanked. Q4 Christmas sales off. Q1 numbers off. Market tanked. I mean, it's like Elmer Fudd running straight off a cliff and hanging in midair till Bugs Bunny tells him nothing's holding him up. Only then does Elmer grab his hat to keep it from flying off his head and drop like an anvil, which he's probably holding on to with his other hand. Or like if you're hit by a bus, thrown 50 feet in the air and land on your head, but have to wait for the doctor to tell you every bone in your body is broken before screaming. You get the idea. The economy gets a double whammy. Once for the bad news like layoffs and closings, and a second time months later when the actual numbers come in showing what everybody already knew. Did I say double whammy? Make mine a triple. Since the Paulson-Bernanke 700 billion Chicken Little Sky is falling call went out that things had been in the dumper, every news outlet from broadcast to the web leads with layoffs, closings, foreclosures, downturns, spouting more gloom and doom than a postseason Cubs fan. The point is news news when it's not news? Spiro Agnew. I got kicked out of a Greek restaurant in Poughkeepsie for saying he was the worst vice president in the country's history. Hey, Dick Cheney was still a Vietnam War draft dodger at the time. How could I know? Anyway, old Spiro had it about right about the press when he called them nattering nabobs of negativism. Unfortunately, his timing was 38 years off. This whole mess started because geniuses behind subprime financing were greedy and stupid. Greedy because they were greedy, stupid because they didn't know when to stop being greedy. Now because of the stock market's reliance on old data and the news media's relentless negative stories, the greedy and stupid have been supplanted by the gutless and lemmingly. Gutless are CEOs too short-sighted and chicken to do anything but cut and run. Cut their workforces and run their companies into the ground while looking for their stockholders to give them a "good job, Brownie." Lemmings are CEOs who are willing to bring out new products and hire staff if other CEOs move first. Also, it wouldn't be too much of a stretch to add un-American and unpatriotic to the mix. These CEOs know how layoffs and closings affect their fellow citizens and still make cuts with less thought than a butcher on a 3-day bender. While reality is bad enough, perception has made reality way, way worse. We should do little about the economy. From December 7th, 1941 to April 18th, 1942, there was nothing but bad news and American defeats. Pearl Harbor, Wake Island, Bataan, Corregidor. Then on April 18th, 1942, General Jimmy Doolittle and 16 B-25 bombers took off from the carrier Hornet and attacked Tokyo. Little actual damage was done, but the effect on morale was incredible. Hey, maybe something can be learned from history after all. This is Don Laskin, and that was Observations.